to the races. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. I'm John Miglosh for the WDMA, and we're having our meetup today. So you just go on to WDMA.org or look at my profile and you'll see a post, or write to me on LinkedIn. That's always good. And we're going to have a good time. We've got about 25 people signed up already. My goodness. My goodness. We've had more, of course. Not everybody who signs up comes, I have to say. I wish they did, but they don't. Anyway, so we'll have a good time, and we're going to be talking about direct mail. We're also going to have a trivia contest, and we're going to find out who's who. And as Mary England from Amadon Graphics used to say, you can meet some really influential people that you aren't going to meet at any other way, any conference that you go to. You just won't get to meet people like this. So come and have a good time. Bring your favorite drink. I'm bringing my Santa hat, so I hope you come and enjoy yourself. Okay, now on to the news. Okay, so it's beginning to look a lot like AI-generated content. And Santa says, instead of coal this year, we're going to give some naughty list to give the naughty list some AI-generated branded content. There's a lot of advantages to that. First of all, coal, it's hard to come by, and you have to dig it out of the ground, and for those green elves, you may not want coal. Maybe an insult, offend somebody. Instead, let's give them AI generated content, and that you can email to them without any engagement whatsoever, and they can ignore it equally well. Okay, so no one's offended. Okay, so Tom wrote me last week because I put together a compendium of Tom's all-time Christmas cartoons, which I thought was a fun deal. And he didn't seem to mind that I did it, and so I will make that available, and maybe I'll show it to you, but I'll make that available over at WDMA.com. And let's see if I've got this. I don't see it in my list of stuff, so that's unfortunate. Let's see, Fishburne Christmas, there it is. Okay, so we got it. Now we got it worked out, got it in here, and I have all of them back to 2005, I think. So anyway, so Tom's been thinking about an observation by Procter & Gamble Chief Brand Officer Mark Pritchard. Advertising has a bad reputation as content craptrap. Not sure exactly what craptrap means, but I'm guessing it's not high-valued content. Okay, direct mail, of course, has the moniker of junk mail. Although when you spend $1 per piece, it's pretty important that you don't just send it to anybody willy-nilly. That you just have to take some care about what's what. So in this digital age, we're producing thousands of new ads, posts, tweets every week, every month, every year. We eventually concluded that all we were doing was adding to the noise, right? Partly why archived, resurrected content does really well, I think. I think partly it's because, it was good. It was good in the first place, and it's still good. The good quality doesn't wear out, okay? Mark shared this conclusion way back in 2016 at the ANA Masters of Marketing conference, years before ChatGPT promised to turbocharge content creation. The advent of AI generation by itself doesn't fix the content craptrap. If anything, AI tools alone risk making the problem worse. Of course they do. Making it easier to ignore, right? I like how Ian Whitworth once described AI generated content as infinite words nobody wants. Right. So if you average all the ads ever created for a product, you may not get something coherent. Like in any tool, and then you have AI generated rules to make it coherent even though it's incoherent. It's all about how we use it. AI tools are often presented as and marketed as a magic wand icon. Type a few words, tap a button, and automatically generate a post, an ad, an article, an image, whatever. I think images do actually kind of work, except sometimes they have 6 fingers and stuff. But the first output by default is a great averaging, as Whitworth said, a great samening of what has already been created by people. It's really leaning heavily on the people, right? Leaning heavily on the people. Okay, and so we have to learn to balance human creativity with AI efficiency if we want to do more than just add to the noise. And by the way, no AI was harmed in the making of this video. All done by hand, all highlighted by hand. Okay, we're not quite there yet. I got these new glasses and they're kind of blue. I'm not sure I like them. Where's my other glasses? One of the rules I have about glasses is don't take them off until you found the other ones. Because you might be squinting around looking for stuff. Okay, so these are a little cloudy, but they are bent properly. You have to get them bent so they don't reflect. It's hard to get good glasses. They want to coat them all with blue, and I don't know why. Okay, so as ex-Google project manager Pedro Diaz observed, these aren't as good of glasses though, so I got new ones. In the context of SEO results, your site didn't get penalized because you used AI for your content. Your site got penalized because the way you used AI and the output of your AI was crap. Well, hopefully they're working on that, and they will penalize you just for using AI. Here are a few other cartoons I've drawn about Christmas over the past few years. Yeah, that wasn't really very Christmassy. I just want baseline growth, December 2003, but of course the cartoon says copyright 2005. I'm not sure about that discrepancy, Tom. Anyway, and so this is a really nice compendium, and I believe if you click on these, I think there's links. I don't know, but over here, I did actually build a Tom Fishburne collection, and all of these are hot linked to the article because I find that Tom's articles are almost as good or better than the cartoons. Sometimes the cartoons are great, but always the articles are great. Okay, and so all of these click to the article that talks about the cartoon, and so this is actually slicker, and it'll be available, I suppose, downloadable at wdma.org down here. And you can also find the Zoom links for Jingle Mingle this afternoon at 3 p.m. So I hope you'll join us. We'll have a lot of fun. We always do. And so then I want to do one more article. This was from Gunderson Direct. And I lifted their picture and did a post last night. And I asked about the best letters to Santa stories that you had. And I got 2 really good ones. And we'll share those as we go. Okay, 10 historical facts about Santa letters. And this was actually written by Alex Palmer. I gotta squint with these glasses. And here's the link to his article, his original, and more of his articles. And I got sucked into, because they're interesting, about, it's kind of, they're all kind of on this theme, 10 historical facts about, and you know, I have a degree in history, so I'm always fascinated by stories about history. First, Santa used to send letters, not receive them. Okay, and Fanny Longfellow, wife of poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, wrote letters to her children every season, weighing in on their actions over the previous year. I'm sorry, sometimes I hear you are not so kind to your little brother as I wish you were, she wrote to her son Charlie on Christmas 1851. And J.R.R. Tolkien, I found out, wrote to his kids almost for 25 years. And he also had elaborately illustrated content. And that book is available. There's a couple of different books available. There's also a YouTube video that I started watching just to get a feel for it. And they were about Father Christmas and his life on the North Pole, filled with red gnomes, snow elves, and his chief assistant, the North Polar Bear. North Polar Bear. Anyway, Excellent work. I may dig that up. I may get that for my kids, my grandkids. Originally, kids didn't mail them. The U.S. Post Office just used to send them to the dead letter office. But in 1913, I believe it was Woodrow Wilson decided to create a place for Santa's mail. Now, of course, if you've seen The Miracle on 42nd Street, and if you haven't, you should, because it's got a great ending and USPS comes in prominently. But they get him off by, they get Santa from going to the Looney Bill by delivering to him Santa's letters. Okay, that's 1913. Postmaster General made a permanent exception, allowing approved. That's okay. I think it was before that. Santa's letters used to go there, but then, and they used to go in the dead letter. But in 1913, the Postmaster General made a permanent exception to the rules, allowing approved individuals and organizations to answer Santa's mail. And apparently, there's still a way to do that. We'll get to that in a second. But you have to say Santa Claus, or else there's actually people named Kringle or Nicholas. Of course, there's people named Nicholas. Miglash may be the root word of Miglash, actually. Miklas, it used to be Miklas. Miklash, which could be Nicholas. Anyway, so you don't want them sent to the wrong address. Okay, here is a letter from a cartoon from Thomas Nast in 1871, and he showed Santa sorting through the letters of. It's interesting because these letters are labeled letters from naughty children's parents, not the children, and then letters from good children's parents, and the good children very small, and the naughty children very tall. Pretty funny. You know, they weren't mixed up about children being born prince and princesses and being turned into frogs by their parents. No, that's not the way they thought about it in most of human history. Children were to be molded and fixed. Anyway, so I actually put this over top of the freebie illustration of a mailbox that was there. Newspapers used to answer them. You could send them into the newspapers. Charity groups objected and said you couldn't verify the letters and whether they were true or not, so we don't like that. And that sounds like, we don't collect as much money to me. It says that they weren't efficient in distributing resources to the poor. Okay, anyway, they don't always get addressed to the North Pole. Sometimes Iceland, Ice Street, Cloudville, Behind the Moon. Sometimes Anchorage, Alaska, or Santa Claus, Indiana. Those actually do get delivered and they go to organizations that answer them. Kids in England can send to Santa's Grotto in Reindeer Land, and here's the postal code. And Steve Falk wrote me because I asked who had the best Santa story, and he said that when he was he actually hosted a postal code lookup for Canada for a while. He ran the website, and if you wrote in North Pole, typed in North Pole, the postal code, it's actually H0H, because that's the way postal codes in Canada work. Letter, number, letter, and then number, letter, number. And it's H0H0H0. But it looks like ho, ho, ho. Way to go, Canada Post, right? And Steve Falk put that on a post I did last night about tell me your best letters to Santa story, and I got one more that came in that was really good. Elizabeth Phillips, people used to volunteer to answer these. Elizabeth Phillips used to answer the letters, but then they changed the postal policy, and she actually killed herself because she was so distraught that she wouldn't be able to answer the Santa letters. And then another guy, John Duvall Gluck, used to solicit donations to himself through the efforts of the Santa Claus Association and another postal person got New Yorkers to send her gifts. It probably didn't amount to much, but you can't let those things go. The post office has a database, a Microsoft Access database, and apparently if you show up in person and present a photo ID, you can still answer letters addressed to Santa, perhaps just in your zip code. We got another letter, and I don't know what the rules are. So you can go over to my post, which has that little child with the letter to Santa, and read it for yourself. But I'm not going to inform on anybody. But he's retired. He or she are retired from the Postal Service, and said that they used to read some of the letters to Santa, and if the children were especially in need, oftentimes they weren't from the children. Sometimes they were from parents, especially single moms who didn't have anything to give to their kids. And he would turn them over to charities in his town, because that's the zip code, and they would do their best to get help to these families. And it was a very, very touching story, and I highly recommend it. So Santa has an email address, and kids can reach him through a number of addresses: Letters to Santa, emailsanta.com, Elf HQ, Macy's, and Elf on the Shelf has their own, the Elf on the Shelf Empire, which we talked about last week, has their own Santa connection to St. Nick. And so just for hoots, I pulled up the USPS Operation Santa, and make someone's holiday. This is where you volunteer to read letters, and you can adopt, and you can shop and find a gift and send it from Santa, wrap your presents and shipping guidelines, and send your gift from a participating post office by December 18th, which was yesterday, so we can't do that, but sorry about that. But you can get ready for next year. Here's Letters to Santa. I didn't know that existed. So there you go. You learn something new every day on this show. And that note, don't forget, Jingle Mingle, WDMA.org, or look or contact me on LinkedIn. That would be fine. Have a great day. Repost. They count way more than likes, but I appreciate the likes too.